We are back, everyone. CJ Kim here with my colleague, Matt Wilson.
What's up?
Welcome to another episode of Digging for Dollars. We have a pretty fun show today. Let's start right away with our topic today of area plays. So an area play is typically what happens when one explorer makes a significant discovery in a relatively underexplored area or district, and then all of a sudden dozens and dozens of other players can come in and stake the surrounding area in the hopes of replicating a similar discovery. I guess the idea is if this company can hit it big, why not us? Mineralization doesn't stop at the end of their borders, and mineral systems are rarely isolated. So one discovery typically means that there could be potential for other discoveries. And, it's really, really exciting to get into something on the ground floor. Staking is relatively cheaper than going out there and acquiring an existing project. And with that flurry of new investors, the bankers jump aboard. They like raising money. Promoters and newsletter writers like covering areas of excitement. That means an increase of eyeballs to what they're doing. So, it's a fun part of why we're in this sector.
The dream, buddy. Selling the dream. That's all venture, any business. Cancer cures, AI, pick a business. It's the same thing. You're just projecting future cash flows way, way, way out. And like you said, it's an easy story. When you're next door to something big, you say, look, we got it too.
A lot of people have made very famous careers on it. Looking back at other more exciting area plays, we have Hemlo in Ontario, and when that happened, you had a very big and character in our space named Murray Pesum out of Howe Street in Vancouver jump aboard, and he made a lot of money with that with Golden Scepter, I believe, and he replicated that with Eskay Creek in the Golden Triangle. Some other area plays include Fosterville in Australia. That's a little bit more recent. Very more recent, Newfoundland. We were a big part of that, and that was really fun to see. One thing that we do want to cover, because they did put out news, and it was an area play in the Yukon, and some might argue that was the first kind of area play staking claim rush back in the late 1800s when they set off that big Klondike gold rush. But more recently in 2010, when the mushroom farmer Sean Ryan staked a bunch of claims with his systematic approach and optioned some claims to Underworld, and they had that big discovery. And obviously Ryan Gold was a huge success, and it's still around in white gold.
But it wasn't really a huge success. I mean, it went crazy. I remember Underworld was sold for, I think, 200 million to Kinross in 2010. And then Sean had all those soil samples. He had I don't know, the whole Yukon was soil sampled. And then Ryan Gold was created, right? And Kaminak had been discovered, and that didn't get sold until 5 years later. But Ryan Gold, you drilled these holes in Ryan and the best soil, and they weren't really, no one really cared. It got huge value. But now you have white gold that Dave's running right now, and they just put out 3 million ounces today in 4 different pits, 1.5 grams. It's a real thing. And so it's interesting the time you say, you picked up, I remember seeing a time lapse at some point of Voisey Bay. So Voisey Bay is discovered in the 90s, diamond fields, whatever. They stumble over looking for diamonds. They find this crazy thing in the north of Labrador, and all of Labrador is staked. And having worked in Labrador, staking in Labrador and working in Labrador are two different things. You can spend 500 grand building a camp when someone tells you it's going to cost 25 grand. You can spend 500 grand just holding on to a helicopter and never being able to go up there. Same thing in the Golden Triangle, right? That's why cycles, it takes so long, because you're oh, I'll stake something beside this, and then it's oh, I actually have to do it. So we underestimate, just looking at points on a map and drawing straight lines between these things. You underestimate that these are all startups. These are all venture capital companies, right? So logistics, team, expertise. Look at Labrador Gold. It's a great example with Newfound. Hits all these huge holes. Labrador Gold comes out, hits 2 meters of whatever, and didn't really replicate it. And then Newfound took it over, and they just drilled 20 of 40 or something. I mean, the impact of team and the impact of a history of understanding, and of course capital, budget, and logistics is just so often underrated in these things. And so we expect it to happen so fast, in a lot of them, because what's the line, Siege, where the best place to find a mine is what, the shadow of a bed frame or something, right? Like you find the next one.
Yeah.
So it works. It does work, right? Like I remember when you and I both starting at the same time. You remember like the Hathor fission fight, right? Hathor, they're all like, "You suck," no, and you're in the Athabasca, this great basin. It's like I could be the only one. It's like, well, the whole basin is probably pretty good. Meanwhile, NexGen just like creeps up and is $7 billion today. So I don't know. It's interesting.
We were talking about that, and my argument was not a lot of these. Well, area plays in itself, maybe if you can get in on the ground floor, but a lot of these times, I would say 95% of the time, or even 99, it's just a trade. You're not investing in the company. You're just going in and trying to be a part of FOMO at a certain point. The entire Athabasca basin was staked during the initial Hathor.
Totally.
Yeah. And
Purepoint, we just talked about it last one. We talked about Purepoint, which has the most absurd land package in the Athabasca. It's taken them 20 years, and now it's working. It's so interesting. I think it's just time horizon, right? Like that's the hard part, is that you go into cycles so quickly in commodities, right? Like uranium's hot for 2 years and then it sucks, and by the time that you could drill anything, it's gone. So it's capital, right? You don't have any money, you can't make another discovery. So I think area plays make sense. Hemlo, of course, is an exception, and maybe Voisey, where there's nothing around Hemlo, and there hasn't been another Voisey, and so. But I think that those are also like, well, not Hemlo, but Voisey is a product of how difficult it is to be there. So I guess I like area personally. I like the concept of it. I think that the reality of the time it might take to make that second discovery, just because you're on a straight line, maybe is what is it, understated.
So when you see something come out like this, do you want to be a part of the first rush, or do you want to be a little bit more systematic in your approach and just see what are the better projects out there, let the rush kind of calm down a little bit, and then kind of pick and choose the better companies?
It's hard, man, because look at the Vicuña district, which was an area play within the giant porphyry districts of Chile and Peru, right? It was just this 20-kilometer span that was there's like this gap, right? And in 1996, Lucas Lundin goes down and he takes all this ground, overnight. You have Philo, Lundin, and NGEX, right? But you forget that in 2009, 13 years after that was all got as the ultimate area play with all the porphyries around it. I guess that's a big concept, but it was a $30 million company, NGEX, and it owned all of it, and it spun out $11 billion or whatever of value, right? So it takes time. So the hard thing is we don't really have time in our venture cycle in commodities, because the commodity cycle goes up and down, and everyone runs so quickly. So it's not like venture tech, which is private. So in a public sphere, it's very hard. So the trade is good, definitely. There's trade, lots of wins off the trade, but even NexGen traded at 40 cents for like 8 years. I remember when it was like 40 cents in like 2015 or whatever it was, like very, very low. And then it took off, right? So timing is hard. It's all time horizon, right? It's all how long and how much risk do you have? How long can you take to get there, right? So we own a lot of area plays right now. We can jump into a couple of them, right? Like we own, back to the Vicuña, we own Mogotes, right? It's like the ultimate area play. They've done a really good job, and it took a lot longer. They had this bummer of an IPO. It was going to be this huge deal coming off of like the big philo things, and then copper fell off a cliff, right, in June of 3 years ago, and like no fault of their own, that they had this 50 million IPO gone, right, like everything gone. And so then you're struggling, and then you're struggling for capital, and their holes weren't even that good. And then Alan did a great job really recently of raising this big capital, and hopefully they drill in November. But again, it's early, and they don't have the philo guys, and so we'll see. But the real estate is great, right? Real estate is great. Like, what's your favorite area play right now?
The first company there is not technically an area play, but I'll always be a little bit biased towards Newfound Gold, just because we were there. We were at the inception of this big claim rush that we did. But, it's funny that we mentioned Sean Ryan, because he was there at the same time with his systematic approach.
In Newfoundland.
Yeah, in Newfoundland, that he did with Ryan Gold. And, we were kind of at the same time. We were able to get, Queensway and everything to the south of that, and he had everything to the north of it. And, Labrador Gold was the one that optioned some claims from him. Exploits that did the same. So a lot of other junior companies, and they saw an incredible lift when Queensway was discovered. So A little bit biased towards it, but I still think that, they have a lot more juice in the tank.
Which exploits?
No, Newfound Gold.
Oh, that's not an area play though. That was the discovery. How's that? That's not an area play. Can't be like that's like being like Philo is the area play. The district maybe, but like right now, Mogotes in there. Another one is IDEX. IDEX is an area play, right? They have 35,000 hectares as a straight line goes right beside Hercules, right? So now can you be an area play to something that isn't a mine or discovery? There's a real question for you. How, like if you don't have a resource yet, if you don't have a PEA, how area, but I think so, right? So area plays on a discovery, that's maybe where it's hard because when you just if you have one hole in the ground and you're an area play, how good is that?
Would you consider Scout an area play?
Yeah, totally. Scout and Hercules, right? They're both around it. We own both of them. Good guys, but like it takes a long time. Like look at Hercules, been 3 years, 2 years, so it's like, it takes time to figure it all out. They just did that wild deal with Barrick and Hercules, and so it's IDEX is there taking advantage of it and watching and learning, and so time horizon maybe there's something else there, and they have enough land. I think that's a big thing in area plays. You have to have enough land so that when big system happens beside a big system, like it can't be right next door because that's hard in especially in porphyries, right? You don't have enough space for that to happen again.
But that requires a lot of money as well.
A lot of money, a lot of time. And then another one we're talking about is, I think you remember Fosterville South?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think Fosterville South, so that's like a Discovery Group spin out from what is Great Pacific, right? And it's right beside Southern Cross, which of course we have big stake in and have followed for a very long time. And Mike's done an amazing job there. And they have run a lot. They raised this $5 million at 45 cents, didn't let anyone in. And now it's 80 cents. They have 70 million shares out. I think they have 5 million, and their deck is all, we're going to drill like Southern Cross because we have this 2 meters of 12, 2 meters of 20 in history, and so we're going to find it. So that's another one where it's like, okay, are all things alike? Is that the Labrador Gold of Newfound, right? Or is it something on its own? So that will be an interesting one to follow as well.
Okay, so yeah, area plays exciting. The idea that mineralization will always extend. If you zoom out far enough, everything's on trend, right? So if you're like, you can make a story out.
Straight lines, buddy, or curved or whatever.
It's a horseshoe. It's a ring, whatever. Going back to my other area play, I think I'll save that for when our guest comes on because that may or may not be my dig this deal. Promote.
I got a good area play for our dig this deal too. So we'll pause on that before our guest.
Okay. We've been on a roll with a lot of, fun, exciting guests. Our guest today is Victor Cantore, President and CEO of probably one of the more or most exciting gold plays on the venture right now, and that's Amex Exploration. We've been talking a lot about Amex Exploration. We didn't really plan on having Victor. We don't really schedule them out in terms of what we've been talking about, but coincidentally he's on the show today. He brings over 25 years of leadership experience and serves on many boards of private and public companies, bringing his expertise. And so on this show, we're very glad to have Victor Cantore.
What's going on, man?
Not much. Sorry about the background. I don't have any. I can't put any backgrounds or whatever. It's just this curtain. I should have had something else there, but sorry. Anyways, this is.
Curtain looks nice.
It looks good. I have a fake tree, so it's good.
Alrighty, I tricked the family, so I didn't. Whatever. Sorry.
We're not that fancy here, except for Cejay. Cejay has a whole studio.
Nice.
Victor, we are talking about, in our theme today, we're talking about the success and failures, the reasons to buy and the reasons not to of area plays and districts, or maybe perhaps the time it takes for a lot of these things to work. I'm reframing this question, obviously, because Amex is in the Abitibi. So wondering, first off, you've been doing this a long time, you've seen a lot of things. Cejay and I were debating back and forth, like, do you buy area plays on a discovery hole? Do they work? Do they not work? Where's your head at in that?
If you're along the same type of rocks, then yes, I can see that. But if you're just staking land to buy land, then your chances of a discovery are going to get a lot more diminished versus if you're following a trend.
Right. We were talking about like the Yukon in 2010 because Cejay and I both started kind of in the same area, same time. And so you had this underworld thing, and then everyone staked the whole Yukon. I remember you couldn't rent a helicopter in the Yukon. I remember we were in this deal, and he couldn't find a helicopter, and he paid like 6 times market rate. I think he spent $1 million just to get a helicopter, and didn't do anything. And I remember that whole rush. And then everything kind of fell apart, even though Kamenet got sold to Gold Corp in 2016, and now it starts to matter again 15 years later, right? So. Do you think so? For Amex, Amex is in the Abitibi, and the history to fill us in. Like Amex is fascinating because I think it was first found like 60 years ago or something, and you're in the ultimate area play because you're in such a great space. So fill us in on that a little bit.
Yeah. So Amex space. So 4 kilometers to the east of us, you have the former Normetal mine, but that's a VMS mine. So if you look at the Abitibi and you look at the the main deformation zones. The one that we're on, the Shikobi trend, has been overlooked because everybody thought there was only VMS. It was not a, there was no gold there. It was just a little bit of gold connected with associated with your VMS mine. But our geological team always insisted, no, there's in this Beaupré block, there's gold. And, I had my doubts too at the beginning. So then we started drilling it out and bingo. And I think that whole belt is really underexplored. That was one of the reasons why we picked up another 140 square kilometers going into Ontario. We're looking at other acquisitions along the way now. So, but yeah, I think it's fascinating. I think this was an overlooked belt. And having said that, it's right in the middle of the Abitibi Greenstone Belt. Like if you want to choose a center point, that's where it is. It's right at the center point.
And how long did it take to kind of get, like, when was it first found? Just what was the first gold found on this project?
Well, we got involved. There was gold, but it wasn't like really high grade. Back in 2013, you had Agnico Eagle signed a deal with Amex. They were on the property. They spent $3 million. They spent 4 years on it. They walked away because they couldn't find what they were actually finding. We took all that information, we compiled it, and bingo, we bumped into the high grade zone, which it's got close to 1 million ounces at 15, 16 grams per ton. So it was basically the end of 2018, and then we've poked about another 500,000 meters into it, $125 million later, and now we're sitting with 2.3 million ounces of high grade, and I do believe there's a lot more to find. Like when I say this belt is underexplored, it's underexplored, especially going onto the Ontario side.
Cool. So
no, I was just wondering, especially when you have a major partner initially, and they kind of leave you to do it on your own. You must have had very, very strong conviction to keep on going, because it's not the first time a major would drop a small little project and a junior coming in and actually making a big discovery on it. But just having that in the background, what made you like put the guns and keep on going?
Well, it's a little bit different. So my team got involved in late 2016, and the deal was already in place with Agnico. I'm not, unless you're a project generator company, which I'm not. The deal that was there with Agnico, it's pretty tough when you let a major in at the asset level. We were actually quite happy when Agnico decided to leave, because when you look at these, when you're doing an asset deal with majors, the majority of the time you're going to end up with a royalty. So we were actually quite happy when Agnico let it go in 2017. Not because they did any bad work. It was just, it's tough to deal with a junior in a major. Look, the deal was 65. At the end of the day, they could have come all the way up to 65%. How was a junior going to raise money when you only own 35% of the company? Agnico comes in and they will give you let's say they give you a cash call. Oh, well, we're doing $20 million of work. We need your $7 million now. Like, where's a junior going to go raise that kind of money? So we were quite happy. Like, I really liked the belt. Our main geologist there, Jacques Trottier, we really believed there was gold there. So we took all their data, we compiled it, and we got lucky and we continued. I mean, we've put in $125 million into this project so far since we got involved.
So at what point do along the the development or the exploration to the development chain, do you want to bring in kind of a larger player, which you have with your financings?
When you look at this project, we will put out a new PA, but I can only talk about the PA that's there right now. And if you really look at it, it's not a big capex. It's not a big capex PA. And when you look at the numbers, it's actually quite, it's very economic, low capex. You look at the long-term numbers there. I mean, you'd be looking at about $200 million a year of free cash flow over that 10-year mine life. And now we put out our new MRE. You have a much higher grade now than you had. You have much higher average grade than you had before. I can't see the capex going up that much. So this is something where a junior can actually move this into production. And we're going to be unveiling everything as we go along. So the first step is going to be the new PA numbers. The next step is going to be almost around the same time. It's going to be the bulk sample, then a feasibility study just for toll milling. So we're going to do it in phases, which was any responsible junior should be doing. You put this into production in phases, so you don't have this billion plus, this $1 billion plus capex over your head.
It's a big new thing. It seems in Canada especially, it's a big thing across the space because it's like we have all this high grade gold and we had this idea that it had to be, Malarctic or something where like it has to be low grade and bulk tonnage. And you're like, or we could just make lots of money doing it our own way. And I know we went on, we were talking about Amex in our last session and going through it. And, we were pitching the grade increase and what the new PEA would look like and how fantastic this would look probably in the current gold scenario. So I think that the time horizon, right? So, I mean, if you have something that takes 10 years, 20 years to permit, gold might double, but your costs probably triple and that PEA gets so outdated. So when you can do things in a short time horizon, I think that also changed things. And that's what grade does for you, right? I mean, that's what makes this so different, and infrastructure too, right? You guys aren't exactly, creating the wheel here in the Abitibi. So.
Oh, no. Like when it comes to infrastructure, like if this project would be 100 or 200 kilometers away from where we are, the economics would be a lot different. I mean, we have electricity and this is hydroelectricity. We have roads right to the project. From Montreal, Toronto, we could leave and be there within 7 hours. But what we really do have is manpower. This is an old mining town. There's like 700 or 800 people there, but you're not going to get your workers from there. But just 22 minutes south of us, you have the town of Lassar, which has 12,000 residents, and they provide a lot of the workers for the whole Abitibi, including the workers that are going to be working at Casa Berardi, or not going to be that are working at Casa Berardi. So it's a great place to go find a workforce. And that's usually a big problem. And I don't need a mining camp. They can go home at night. It's 23 minutes away. Like if I ask anybody living in any metropolitan city, how long does it take you to get to work in the morning? The majority of people will say 30 minutes to an hour. And it doesn't matter where you live.
Toronto, hour and a half.
Yeah, Toronto, an hour.
So $36 million you just raised in the bank. Eldorado is a big player in that. We've been there. We're all excited here. Do you have timelines or like forecasts on the PEA release, or is it sort of TBD? Or
it'll be shortly after. Look, the last time we put out the MRE, we put out the PEA immediately, meaning I think it was like about 2 months after that. And more or less, it'll be more or less the same thing. It's just there's going to be a little bit more into it because we're going to be combining first 4. It'll be a little bit different. We're going to be doing the first 4 years of toll milling and then balance with your own mine. And the main reasons we want to do that is because you can actually go into production a lot faster. So what you do there is you do a feasibility study just for toll milling. You can complete that, in a quick period, meaning in about 6 months or so.
Are you losing?
That will trigger your permitting. And permitting in Quebec most likely would take about 2 years or so. And then again, once you've been permitted for the bulk sample, we're talking about doing the exact same thing. It's basically you've got your decline and you're going to be producing out of your decline. So what else is there to permit you other than there's going to be more trucks, on the road?
Yeah, that's great. Well, big fans here, Vic. 300 million market cap, 40 million in the bank, whatever, give or take.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, what's budgeted? You mentioned that you've acquired additional claims along your trend there because you think that there's a lot more gold. Have you allocated any of the funds to more the exploration side of things? You want to find out a little bit, find out more, or are you just dedicating?
We're going to continue doing work on it to the point where we get it drill ready. So I'm expecting a drill program on the new property in 2026, but also on the main Perron property that's on the west, that's on the east side in Quebec. I mean, our zones are open in every direction. Like we have. Where most of the gold's been found has been mostly on these deformation zones, on these faults. And you're looking around. There's well over 20 kilometers of those, and we've basically poked holes in about 4.5 kilometers of that. So there's a lot more discoveries to come, both on the Quebec side and very exciting also on the Ontario side. Our structural geologists believe there's another where we found all the gold. We call it the Beaupré zone. It's a rhyolite, and they actually think that there's another one on the other side. Again, it's theory, but the drill bit is going to test the theory.
An area play of your own play, all in the same company.
Yes.
An area play of your own play. All right, that brings us to
Dig this deal. Go ahead, Matt. You want to explain it?
We've got a game on this podcast. We keep things light, and you have 30 seconds to 1 minute in Dig This Deal, such as you would be in an elevator. It's been pretty fun so far.
Yeah.
And the only requirements, you're pitching a deal. You can own it. You can not own it. Doesn't matter. You have to tell us the market cap, and you can't tell us the name.
Okay. So Quebec, market cap's about 30. It's in the $36 million market cap. Really smart, young CEO, up and coming CEO. I think he'll be a very successful CEO. Copper / VMS, already a deposit in there. 11.3 million tons at around 11.3 million tons, around 2.13% copper, a copper equivalent. If I go into individually, it'll be 1.26% copper, and it's in the Abitibi also, north of us. With zinc, gold, and silver values, and the deposit is open at depth, open laterally. And there's been some strong intercepts. Good tight structure.
And you said it's near you, to the north of you?
North of us, yeah.
How far away?
I'd say it's a couple of hours north.
Who is Abitibi Metals?
You got it.
You get extra points if you guess.
Oh, man. Didn't you drop the Juicer card in there?
Yeah.
Is he still a shareholder?
I don't know. That was the pitch initially.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I haven't followed that one a little bit. Initially, I dug that very much, and then it got a little ahead of itself. So that's a digging into again for me. That was a good one, Vic.
Revisit. I imagine it stabilized a little bit, right? From the initial, it came out hot.
It came out real hot.
Yeah, it came out real hot. It's they just recently, it was a BMO-led financing, if I'm not mistaken, it was probably like 28 cents or so. It's trading below that. So I think it's a no-brainer at the.
You dig it.
I dig it.
You dig it. All right, that was a good one. Siege, you want to go next?
Okay, so my company, I'm going to classify it as an area play because we have seen a lot of news coming out of this country and the country and surrounding countries. I guess it's in South America. Market cap of 10.8 million. It was raising money. This is pre-IPO though, so it's a private company. District size package in the Guiana Shield. Same trend as Newmont's Marion mine and Zijin's Rosabelle. Their one project already has a discovery hole on it. It drilled 2.2 grams per ton over 30 meters. Within it was 6 grams per ton over 9. They've done a lot of exploratory work. They've outlined, 7 kilometer by 1.5 kilometer gold anomaly, a lot of auger work samples, geophysics. So they like comparing it to Founders. They have a 7,500 meter drill program planned. The CEO of it is, fairly well established, not like the up and comer that Victor mentioned, but this guy was the former CEO of Awali. He did the JV with Newmont. He was also the CEO of Mariana Resources, which he sold to Sandstorm. So he had that really cool project in Turkey. And so hopefully they go public in late 2025, probably not though, 2026.
Victor, you dig it or you ditch it?
No, I dig it. I know which I can't. The name doesn't come to me, but yes, I know. I believe I know what it is, but I just can't.
I passed on this financing, so I can't dig it too much. But I do like the story in their land package, and his understanding of Suriname is quite good.
So my company is Colossal Gold Resources, not to be confused with the other colossals out there. But as I mentioned, pre-IPO, came across the desk, and I took a punt on it. So we'll see what happens. Those are always
very cool land pack. That guy knows that. I remember sitting with him. His understanding of Suriname and like the gel, it was really good. I think it must be the same. I only know is that he was in Wally before as well. I forget what the name is, but that's probably it.
He was marketing in Vancouver, so I think he did buy your office.
All right, I have 65 million shares out, owned by a very small group of people and investors, and a market cap of 50 million. I recently received a strategic investment of $6 million at a market cap of 65 versus my market cap of 50 today. This project and all the projects I have been in the works since 2014, started by some very experienced people in the industry, but I'm in a difficult place in the world to operate given community relations. And so I really haven't done much in 11 years. That being said, I'm 15 kilometers south of one of Barrick's great gold mines in the last 30 years, the Purina mine, which had 7 million ounces of gold and I think a $50 per ounce cash cost at the time. Highlander Silver is just north of me, just north of the mine, and has a 350 million market cap with Dan Earl running the way and the Lundins behind it with their 400,000 ounces of 22 grams. I have no resource, but I have 60 meters of 5 grams on my property. The strategic is hopefully going to get me permits, and I also have some cool porphyry properties on a way beside it that are very interesting. 7 million in cash, 8 million in cash, 50 million cap, strategic, 60 meters of 5 grams, community tough, Peru. Dig it or not?
Oh, I can't dig it, especially in Peru. When you have issues with community for that long,
Yeah, I kind of agree. I can't dig.
Two ditches. I like the leverage on it. I like the optionality. This is Forte Minerals, ticker CUAU. Forte Minerals.
So they coming in with a new plan to get the community on board, or are they leaving it all into the hands of the major?
Well, that's the theory. The stock has been ripping. Stock went from 40 on the deal as $1. Like the Barrick's mine is awesome, right? Like that 7 million ounce. We don't know. They didn't announce it, so
it was a non-disclosed strategic.
A non-disclosed strategic that they're south of their mine with probably the same kind of system. So who knows? All right.
So they're very quiet about it.
They're very quiet about it. It's so tightly held. It was in a thing called Globetrotters, which I remember when Dave Elliott came in and sitting with Sheldon, and I think they helped put it together in like 2013. It's been forever. This thing's been around for a long time, but it seems like it's getting some life. So we will see. But ditched. Thanks, guys. It's cool. See how that turns out. I bring up such controversial names. My deals get ditched all the time. It's a good thing I'm a portfolio manager here.
It's great. I just saw the advisors there. It's Mills Dunlop Capital Partners. Some guys.
Brody and Russ are right in it.
Oh, if they would hear that I ditched this, that wouldn't be too good.
That's why it's so fun. It's unbiased, right? It's unbiased. It's good. It's great. Don't worry. It's just a fun game. Basically, you're going to be right 90% of the time if you ditch a deal. So
I know.
Now we can dig a lot more into it because if someone came in and knows something that we don't know, but it's always fun because it's fuel for food for thought, and it makes you really want to learn more about the deals that we've pitched, right?
For sure. Victor, that was a real treat, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks. I'll be glad to come on another time.
Should we be expecting a halt, or you don't believe in the halt and you're just going to drop the new PEA on us?
I think I just like to drop the PEA. I mean, I'll do it early enough. Like, we'll release at 3:01 a.m. So at least in Vancouver, you get it for the proper day on the West Coast, and there's enough time for the Europeans to see it, and there'll be enough time and then we'll re-release around 6 a.m. So I think I don't know. I'm not a fan of halting, as long as you give the market enough time to absorb it and read the numbers. So. Yeah, to be determined.
Matt's not a fan of the halt either.
I'm not. I halted one time with Sterling at the very beginning. I thought it'd be funny. I halted for a grab sample. And then everyone's like, what are you doing? Why did you do that? I was like, 5,000 grams silver. And then I realized that was like, okay. couldn't drill and replicate that, which is great. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Anyway,
All right. So we're all expecting it. So congrats on the success, and thanks for being on the show.
Thanks.
congrats a lot. All right, take it easy.
Abitibi Metals. A little biased there. We're
You
always
guys like that one better than Forte. It's so funny. My deals never work. I think that like I'm like one. How many? I think I'm 1 for 4 on deals. So
when you pitch a stock, don't lead off with community issues for the last decade, and you know
I try and play it down before I play it up. I mean, you're 2 for 4 on pitching private companies. No one can even look them up.
it's the way to do it. You pitch a private, so it can't go down.
No one can know. No one can know. That was such a fun conversation. Victor's great.
I'm just making up stocks at this point. You don't know if they're real or not.
Luckily,
Yeah.
I met that one.
Okay. Biggest takeaway: no halts, guys.
Yeah, no halts. A lot of confidence. I mean, we love the MX story, so we're totally biased and 100%. We own it, love it. And
Keeps on getting better.
I remember when he was doing that, he did this 10-cent deal, 8-cent deal, whatever it was, when Agnico left and everyone got so scared, and he hustled and he got the money in 2016, and it was you didn't know, right? Jacques had this theory, and then it just shows that, again, time horizon, right? Like it's a weird, it's an odd space that we work in, right? You got to have a lot of patience to see these things play out and kind of trust the team, right? You got to trust the people that are involved, and they don't always work, but at least that the money's going to be put in the ground.
It's hard not to get caught up in the fast money part of the sector, just because after discovery you're seeing 100x right away. A lot of the better investors in our space have a much longer time horizon. Denny speaks to Eric Sprott a lot, and his time horizon is for decades, and you have to be patient. Something that I'm working on.
We rip on retail all the time. We rip on ourselves for chasing these things. But truthfully, like if you go into private venture tech, like how many next Instagrams do you think were founded back when Instagram, which doesn't bring really that much value? Like you're not like creating what Peter Thiel's, we asked for jetpacks and we got 240 characters, right? So like people chase these things for value in every sector, whatever's hot at the moment, no matter what. And it's just because we work in this venture public market, it just becomes so apparent. All the ups and downs, right? It's just that makes it such big swings, because you get that elsewhere, but you just don't have these swings so visible in other industries. So patience, commitment, or make a quick trade and sell.
Don't fall in love with it if you know that you're just making a quick trade, and that kind of falls into is it a good stock or is it a good company? What are you investing in? And don't fool yourself.
Until next time, when we talk more good stocks.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Matt. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Cejay.